I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Finally, The Rock has come back. I hate this idea that you're the best.
And if you're not down with that, we got two words for ya!
I'm the best in the world.
I fight at WrestleMania for the very, very small percentage of people that walk this planet and say I am proud to be, I'm sorry, a professional wrestler.
Oops, I'm breaking the fourth wall.
It's Podcast of the Immortals with your hosts, Matt Bush and Jimmy Bellamy. All right, welcome to episode 39 of Podcast of the Immortals. I'm Matt Bush, here with a very special guest, my good friend and former guest as well, Andy McKinnon.
Hey, thanks for having me on. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing really good. We just finished up watching Battleground. And sorry, I have to apologize for, we lost signal there for a second. I don't know what happened. We lost the Jumbotron. We lost everything there, so.
My lights just flickered off. What's going on?
Maybe it's the Undertaker. Maybe the Undertaker has risen. I don't know. Yeah, but that was pretty crazy. Right before the main event, the pay-per-view just lost signal worldwide. I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah, they lost Jumbotron inside the building. Everyone worldwide lost their pay-per-view feed. I thought it was Halloween Havoc all over again.
Yeah, and Halloween Havoc, was it 1999 or 2000 or right around then? WCW had a pay-per-view, and the main event was nearing its completion when they ran over the 3-hour allotment, and the pay-per-view just cut off with no one seeing the ending.
That was, many people say that was the beginning of the fall of WCW.
Yeah. Fortunately, WWE got their act together and came back on fairly quickly.
Yeah, it was roughly about 5 minutes probably.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if it was like a local power outage, because you had said that people inside the arena said that the Jumbotron had gone black.
Yep.
So I'm guessing
like
that's probably
Super
what
Bowl
happened.
moment.
Yeah, exactly. But we got a lot of show to cover. A lot of stuff happened tonight on the pay-per-view. First off, we'll talk about the pre-show where Dolph Ziggler took on Damien Sandow. Damien Sandow ends up losing and suffering an injured knee, which kind of hindered his plans for the night. He had planned on cashing in, as he had said. But Ziggler wins. It's unfortunate that they had to put this match on the pre-show when there was obvious spots on the actual pay-per-view that they could have put this on. I was kind of disappointed. But it was a good match.
Yeah, well, it was a good match. And I think the whole reason why they put it on the pre-show is so they can start getting their viewership up a little bit and kind of get people excited for the actual pay-per-view. I mean, when Santino Marella and the Great Khali get on the pay-per-view and Dolph Ziggler doesn't, that's a shame. I followed Dolph Ziggler on Twitter, and before even the Daniel Bryan match happened, Dolph Ziggler made a tweet that said, "Off my way to Pittsburgh." So he left. He was gone out of the arena.
Huh.
So I mean, it just I'm sure he's somewhat vocal on his displeasure, but I can't imagine him being too happy about being on the pre-show. But at least he won. It was a good match. They sold Damien Sandow's injury fairly well. So overall, it's a good pre-show match.
Yeah, I agree, and I keep waiting for Sandow to win a match. Has he even won a single match since he won that briefcase back in May?
It's very slim. I think he might have won one or two. I know he beat Cody Rhodes on that one pay-per-view, but I mean that was about it. And for some reason WWE does that. They tend to schedule their pay-per-view or their Money in the Bank winners really, really terribly. And I'm not sure why, but that's something they've always done. So
yeah, well, and we've talked about this before, where Daniel Bryan went on that long losing streak, and so did Dolph Ziggler. But they both ended up winning their cash-ins and having a good run. You know, Ziggler was cut short by injury, but obviously Daniel Bryan turned that into a big opportunity for himself and to where he is today. Breaking news for you, Andy. Some Minnesota Vikings news.
All right.
What were we just talking about? Who they should sign, or who I was saying who they should sign?
I believe you were saying Matt Schaub, if I remember right.
No, I was saying Josh Freeman.
Oh, that's right. Yep, you did take Josh Freeman. That's great with you.
Josh Freeman is now a Minnesota Viking, 1-year deal.
No way.
Yep.
Oh, man, you know, I'm not a fan of it personally. I would like to just stick with the two guys we have. See what happens. You know, Tink for Teddy is the new hash mark. So, I mean, that's what I was thinking, the hashtag Tink for Teddy. But, you know, if we can compete and, you know, stay in some games, we got decent chance, but we're not great. So
I just thought it was so funny because I was putting that out like it was a joke, you know. Because I didn't think anyone would sign him, but apparently the Vikings are pretty desperate for a quarterback, and they signed that headache of an enigma in Josh Freeman. So good luck to you guys.
Woo! Here we go. Super Bowl, home boss.
Super Bowl championship.
Great cash, homie.
Yep. Our first match of the night, the real first match of the night on the actual show, pitted World Heavyweight champion Alberto Del Rio taking on Rob Van Dam in a no DQ match. And I really loved this match. I thought it was great. Good way to start the show. Hot crowd. Loved it.
Yeah, I loved it as well. You know, hardcore legend, R-C-C. And remember, Matt, it's not Rod, it's Rob. So,
Yeah, I mean,
Rob Van Dam.
I was very clear with my Rob pronunciation tonight.
But yeah, no, I love the match. It was a good show starter. It got everyone going. I personally enjoyed it. A little slow at times, but when they did that move with Rob Van Dam from the top rope with the chair,
Yeah,
I
that was
thought
awesome.
that was fantastic.
Yeah,
Him missing, you know, perfect.
for those who didn't see it, RVD took a chair and jumped off from ring post to ring post and kicked the chair into the face of Del Rio. He also did a backflip off of the barricade onto Del Rio, and that was pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, you know, hardcore legend, as JBL said at least a dozen times, it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mr. ECW. So he had some great spots at the ladder. He pulled out a ladder. He pulled up the chair. You know, then Ricardo jumps in and does his thing and kind of distracts Alberto Del Rio, and the match kind of turns from there. But a lot of great spots in that match.
Yeah, Del Rio ended up retaining his championship, as anyone who listens to the show probably would have guessed, because it's been noted that RVD may be leaving soon, and I thought this would be a good way to write him off at TV in this hardcore match. And Del Rio ended up winning with his cross arm bar, and he actually put his arm through the chair to get more torque on it. So that might be a good way to say, you know, RVD's injured, he can't be back for a while, and then he'll come back maybe in a month and begin his second run of 90 days.
Yeah, they delivered that well. You know, the goal is to write him off. Alberto Del Rio did a great job with the chair and to really make it sell. So hats off to them for a good match.
Yeah, for sure. There was no cash in by Sandow. They had teased it, but you know, his apparent knee injury in the pre-show probably limited his ability to run down. So that's how they kind of justified him not coming down. But I thought it would have been a great opportunity for him, you know, in those hardcore matches where everyone gets beat up. But it was a good way for them to explain away why he wouldn't be running down and singing Hallelujah.
And just so I'm curious, you believe that's a work as well, correct?
His injury?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, me too. I just wanted to make sure. You know, a lot of people on Twitter just kind of freak out whenever they see the the knee injury or the roll of the ankle, and you know they're doing their job great if they make you think that. So
yeah, for sure. Our next match on the card pitted, and this was this match announced? It was Santino and Khali taking on the Real Americans.
Another match that you know doesn't make a lot of sense.
No,
kind of just thrown on out there, but you know, Real Americans cut I should say, Steph Coulter cut a decent promo before the match. They came out there. Real Americans had some good spots here and there. You know, a couple funny gimmicks with Santino and Khali, but a great spot that I'm gonna let you talk about in the match that has everyone talking on Twitter.
Oh, for sure. Antonio Cesaro is one of the most impressive human beings I've ever seen, and he actually, you know, he's been doing the helicopter on Santino week after week. Well, this week he decided to do it against the great Khali, and it was unbelievable. I can't. I mean, the guy's 7 feet, got to be at least 400 pounds.
Yeah.
And he's helicoptering him. He's off of the mat, and that was his finisher for the night, which made sense because Khali couldn't, you know, kick out of a paper bag, but it was awesome. I'm totally impressed by that guy.
Yeah, he is very, very talented, and with Steph Coulter as you know, his mouthpiece, I think it's going to be great for him. I would like to see Jack Swagger get out of the equation personally, and him and Zeb go on an individual route. I just think there's more realistic with him going as a single competitor. But you know, overall, it is what it is, and it's a decent match. You know, nothing that anyone's gonna talk about later, you know, somewhere down the road. But
yeah.
At least they had a good spot, and I think that was the whole plan. Was with Cesaro just to have, you know, a real big spot so people would start talking about him, just like Kofi has had in previous, you know, Royal Rumble and stuff like that. You know, start getting them out there. Yeah.
I mean, this was one I was a little upset about because I'm like, why is Ziggler and Sandow not in the spot? Like, it just seems like a waste of space. The match wasn't even announced beforehand. It was just all of a sudden there's a tag team that's never been seen before taking on the Real Americans. It seemed like filler. We shouldn't have that kind of stuff on a pay-per-view.
I totally agree. I think that the only reason they put Sandow and Dolph on the pre-show was to get people to tune into the pre-show.
Yeah.
Get people kind of fired up for the actual pay-per-view. But, you know, for the most part, I thought it did its job. For the pre-show, however, you know, I'm on board with you. What a waste of a match on a pay-per-view.
Yeah. I don't know. I question a lot of things from the Battleground pay-per-view, but that was definitely one of them. And also, I was curious. They announced this Battleground pay-per-view a while ago, and we kind of speculated about what the gimmick would be. Like, what... They used to have war games back in WCW where they would have 2 rings under a cage or something like that, and they could fight in either ring. I thought maybe that might be the gimmick, but Battleground just seems to be another one of those generic, like, Backlash or Vengeance. It just seemed like like, why change the name if you're not going to do anything different, like or have a special match or something like that?
Yeah, I agree. There was no really rhyme or reason with the Battleground being named as a pay-per-view. The only thing I could think about was the big reason was so they wouldn't have to have that kind of gimmicky stuff, like, you know, Night of Champions should be every title on the line. You know, Hell in a Cell should be at least two matches in a cell. That's the only thing I could think of. But we looked back, and last year it was Night of Champions, and then it was Hell in a Cell, and then Survivor Series. So they did throw another pay-per-view kind of into the mix. Mm-hmm. Compared to last year. So I wonder if it was, you know, just thrown in there to see how another pay-per-view would do for the whole year.
Did they add? I thought they took away a couple. They added well, Battleground, of course, and then Over the Limit is gone or something like that, and what's the other one? The one in DC, like Capital Punishment, I think is gone. But I don't think they added any. I think they just replaced some.
I agree, yeah. But the timing of them last year, when we looked back on the DVR, it looks like they threw this one in because last year the order went, I believe, it went Night of Champions, Hell in a Cell, and then Survivor Series.
Yeah, I think so. And that's more the traditional like schedule.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed. I was hoping it would be War Games. Actually, I haven't seen a match like that in a long time. It's a gimmick that they haven't used, and I was kind of hoping to see that.
Yeah, that'd have been cool. So, I think our generation kind of really was into wrestling back in when the NWO and the Monday Night Wars. So I think everyone had a huge pop for that. But
yeah, well, maybe next year.
Yeah.
Battleground 2. Yeah. This time it's more Battleground this time, Our next match on the card was pitted Intercontinental Champion Curtis Axel taking on R-Truth because they had a run-in last week on Raw, apparently, and that deserves a pay-per-view match. It was another throwaway match. But it was pretty boring. The crowd really wasn't into it. Axel ends up winning. I mean, it was an okay match, but nothing special. It was never in doubt, really. But crowd didn't care at all about this match, and it's too bad because Axel, I think, has some talent.
Yeah, I agree. However, I do disagree with one thing. They did at least build this match. Not a lot, but at least the last week, on Raw and then on SmackDown, they had the run-in with Curtis Axel coming from behind and kicking out R-Truth. At least they built to this one, unlike the Santino Morella match.
Yeah.
So at least it is something. And anytime you can see Paul Heyman twice in one night, it's usually a good thing. Curtis Axel, I'm okay with. He does have some talent. As long as you keep with Paul Heyman, then at least he's got a little bit of a mic chance. But he's not very perfect on the mic.
Yeah.
But overall, he's not bad in the ring, and I would like to see them actually do a full next 3-week storyline with him and kind of cut him out of the CM Punk storyline.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. My guess is he'll still be somewhat involved if CM Punk and Paul Heyman continue their feud.
Yeah, he really needs to just grow out those locks and dye it bleach blonde and wet it down and just come out in the blue leotard, Just go for it. Yeah.
In the hair and hit it up.
There you go. I would really like to see, once the CM Punk thing is over with Heyman, a Ryback and Curtis Axel feud. I think that could be interesting, They could be battling for Paul Heyman's heart or something. and the winner gets to be a Paul Heyman guy. I don't know, but I think it could be interesting.
I want the Intercontinental title to actually mean something.
That's not going to happen again.
I want a feud. I want a feud that's gonna work out. And I tell you what, I think Curtis Axel is again decent in the ring, but I just want to see something built towards it.
Yeah, I just don't know. I can't imagine you can't even throw out a name where I'd be like, oh, that'd be interesting. They're all mid-card guys who just kind of flounder around.
Yeah, and it has to be a good guy.
Yeah.
Because Axel's a bad guy. So, I mean, you got your traditional, Kofi Kingston, R-Truth. Those are your
Santino.
mid-tier talents.
The Great Khali. There's like any name you throw out, you're just going to be like, eh. The Miz, maybe, but The Miz is in every Intercontinental feud. It's just pathetic at this point.
Right.
I don't know.
I agree.
I got nothing. I got nothing for Curtis Axel. It's just like R-Truth was.
See him get something, but
yeah. It's like, well, we haven't seen him take on R-Truth yet, so let's throw him in there.
I don't want to see Dolph Ziggler go against him. That's for sure.
No, Ziggler needs to get back in the World Heavyweight Championship.
What about Big E Langston? He's a good guy. going for the title. I could buy that.
That's interesting. They've talked about turning him face. It got him away from AJ. I think that'd be a good step for him.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Biggie Langston, it's really the only guy I can think about. Maybe have Bray Wyatt go against him and just demolish him. Even though it's heel versus heel.
Turn Axel face
really
somehow?
matters. What's that?
Turn Axel a face somehow?
Especially if you go away from Paul Heyman.
Yeah. Well, he could be screwed over. Maybe he'd be heartbroken for a while, and I don't know. I got nothing for him. I apologize.
Pull out a big win against Ryback.
Yeah.
Somehow, and that breaks him up from Paul Heyman, and then Bray Wyatt, or maybe Bray Wyatt sticks Kane upon him.
Yeah.
Because I believe Kane's going to turn heel and kind of be under the spell of Bray Wyatt at some point. So we'll see what happens. I mean, they got a few things they can do, but like you said, there's not a lot of depth in that mid card that we could really care for.
Yeah. There is a lot of depth, but we've seen those matches so many times that no one cares anymore.
Right.
It's just like, oh, who's got the belt this week? It just doesn't matter. No one cares. One belt that people do care about, though, ironically, is the Divas title. And we had a pretty decent match tonight with Brie and AJ going for the Divas Championship, and AJ retains once again.
Yeah, and a great match, like you said. And I tell you what, people can say they don't like Total Divas as much as they want, but Total Divas, I personally am fine with. I watch it every week. I like to see the insights of behind the scenes, and especially into the superstars' lives and stuff.
I thought you were going somewhere else when you said the insights. I'm like, oh, Andy, this is a PG show, sir.
PG, yeah, exactly. But overall, it's bringing people into caring about the WWE Divas title.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know what? The matches have not been bad.
No.
Which is great.
AJ's...
It's great to be able to say that, because we, as you've talked about many times on this show, is we do pay-per-view picks.
Yeah.
Well, 3 months ago, we were picking the Divas matches, but we were calling them tiebreakers.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually for a point. Now, since the Divas division has been pretty good, relatively speaking, we've started to include them in our picks. So that just shows you that we're starting to care for it more.
Yeah, and I think AJ's done more for that belt than anyone in the past 5 years, and she's made that division relevant again. And Total Divas has been successful even without AJ. So to add those two elements together, I think has really made the division pop. I mean, who would have thought a Bella twin would have? And me and Jimmy have talked about this, but like they used to be just the Bellas, just like the Usos, but now they're Nikki and Brie. I actually know who's who. They're not like if Jimmy and Jey Uso were standing in front of me, I wouldn't know which one is which.
Well, it helps with two twins look match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but beyond like the physical. Beyond the physical attributes of Nikki, I like personality.
I'm fine with. I was just pointing it out.
I know what you're saying, but I know their personalities now. I feel like I know who they are as people, and Total Divas has done that for me.
Yep, agreed. And in this match, I thought Brie looked good as well as AJ. I thought they had pretty good chemistry. I really enjoy Brie Bella's drop kicks. That's one thing I watch.
Yeah. And,
she's getting the 2 feet on them, most of the time. So, and, that's a huge upgrade from what we're used to seeing. Talia obviously is pretty good in the ring. With AJ, it's just moving it up, which is great to see.
Yeah. And this match, I mean, both women were looking pretty good, which I like. But again, Brie was distracted when Tamina Snuka, the daughter of WWE legend Jimmy Snuka, attacked Nikki.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that. You need to listen to the show more. We talk about it quite often. But Nikki was attacked by Tamina Snuka. Bree becomes distracted and gets rolled up by AJ. Of course, you can't kick out of a roll-up if you're distracted. God forbid. And AJ retains.
Cardinal rule. You turn your back to your opponent, especially when your sister's getting choked out by She-Man, is what we're going to call it. And, she is big. Tamina.
Yeah,
she's got bigger arms than her dad did.
She's got bigger arms than Big E Langston. That's why she traded in.
Exactly. But yeah, like you said, you and Jimmy have beat this one to death. Whenever someone gets distracted or music hits, it's all over.
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of pathetic. Like it's people can't kick out of that, ever. But if you get hit with a chair, you're fine. Just don't be distracted when you get hit by that chair, and you'll be okay. But good match again. Divas, keep it up. We're liking your stuff.
Absolutely.
The next match on the card, or the card on next card. What am I saying? Next match on the card was a great one, and it's every single time the Shield go into a match, they have a great match, and this time they had it with the Rhodes brothers. American Dream, baby. Yeah, Dusty got into it. I loved it. I thought this was an awesome match, maybe the best of the night.
It was fantastic. It was definitely one of the better matches of the night. I picked it a little differently, but the way they did it, I enjoyed.
Yeah, and the Shield, I think they can't have. They're like Peyton Manning. Just every single time they have a match, they're great.
Yeah, I cannot think of a match that I've been disappointed with.
Yeah.
With the Shield, especially on big time, pay-per-view. Any pay-per-view match I've enjoyed thoroughly. You guys have talked about it. I've talked about it with you. I think they perform to the highest quality every time they're on the big stage.
Absolutely.
I was surprised that they took a loss on a pay-per-view against the Rose Brothers.
Yeah.
I am going to tell you that pretty much what I told you, which my pick is, I think Cody Rhodes or Dusty does turn heel on their family here pretty soon. I thought it'd be tonight, but it's not. I would like to see, if they don't do that route, I would like to see them fight for the titles on the next pay-per-view. I think that'd be awesome.
I think that's a logical extension of it. They'll probably get a shot. I don't think they'll win. They might. I don't know. I think that might be when you see Goldust turn, or because they've been talking about a Cody Rhodes versus Goldust match for a couple years now, and Goldust is really, really, really pushed for that match. That's his dream match, basically. And I think that could really lay the seeds for that feud going forward and lead to an Ultimate Mania match. But it might be a little early for that. But it's coming soon. That's my prediction.
I 100% agree, and they've been talking about the one-on-one match they wanted to do for the last 3 years, and maybe they're going to build it and let the storyline go all the way to WrestleMania, have Rhodes versus Rhodes. That'd be a long time, but maybe they can be in the tag team title hunt for a while, and we'll see what happens. I thoroughly enjoyed that match, and I would love to see it again, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, and Goldust has been great in the ring. Like, absolutely awesome. It's like he hasn't missed a beat since 1998.
Yep, agreed. He's been on top of his game, and especially with the limited opportunities he's been given, he's delivered. So that's great to see.
Yeah. And I like I said, I love this match. I thought it was perfectly executed. They got Dusty Rhodes involved. You saw Bionic Elbow. He was whipping Dean Ambrose with his belt. I thought it was great.
Yeah, on the outside, Dean Ambrose tries to get involved. Dusty goes after him, pulls off the belt, hits him with Bionic Elbow, flips him a few times, keeps him back. Then Roman Reigns looks like he's going to come and deliver the spear on Dusty, and Goldust attacks him from the side. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was great.
Overall, the match, great. The thing we haven't talked about yet was the promo before the match.
Yeah,
I thought that was fantastic. And they did some comedy in there, and they did a little bit of family talk, and really they just built the match. They didn't have to sell me on it. I already bought the pay-per-view. I was loving the promo.
Yeah, I thought it was great too. I mean, anytime you get a Goldust promo where he, he does his shtick, it's just awesome. I love Goldust. I used to hate him because he did his job too well. Like, I wasn't supposed to like him, and I didn't. But now I just respect the guy tremendously, and he's great.
Absolutely.
After the match, after Rhodes won with a Crossroads by Cody for the pin, they are celebrating on the entrance ramp, and Arn Anderson, Fit Finlay, Dean Malenko, and many others like Brodus Clay come out and congratulate the Rhodes for their big win.
Yeah, it looks like most locker room, the jobbers is what we're going to call them.
Yeah.
Came out, and, Zack Ryder was there. Woo, 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 you know it.
Oh, yeah.
They all came out and congratulated him. So it was, it was a fun moment to see in the middle of the pay-per-view, something to lift, the spirits of people watching the pay-per-view, people there. It's just a fun moment.
Yeah, it was for sure. After the match, we cut to backstage where we have the Brad Maddox talking to Vicky Guerrero. And Brad Maddox says that Triple H and Stephanie left the show for some reason. And I didn't really, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but I didn't catch why they weren't there. Do you remember why?
Yeah, actually, Brad Maddox didn't say. All he said was they had to go. He was talking to one of them and said, the Rhodes just won. It's not going according to plan. And basically, when he got off the phone, he basically told Vicky he needed help, and Vicky said, "You're on your own." But then Michael Cole kind of saved, I think, Brad Maddox by saying they were rushed off to an important meeting that they had to go do. To me, pretty stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid way. I understand why they did it, later on, but I thought they could have been a little more creative on why they had to go.
Yeah.
If you want to fake some kind of accident at home, you want to say that they're, even if you brought a little real life story, but say, Triple H and Ted McMahon's kid had to go to the hospital, something rushed in the hospital, that at least is more believable than they would leave a pay-per-view that they have 14 of in a whole year to go to a meeting. That just seems silly to me.
I know, I love, it's like an emergency WWE meeting, and it happens to take place at a pay-per-view. Are you kidding me? You think they'd schedule around that.
Right. It's pretty stupid, I thought.
They're
they're more creative than that.
Yeah, what was the meeting? A creative marketing meeting to sell those pink shirts that everyone was wearing tonight?
Well, one idea, too, that they could have done was, lock them up somewhere. Big Show lock them up. Or they, plenty of ideas that they could have had that wasn't as bad as the one they used.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, it felt very Shawn Michaels has left the building type situation. I didn't understand it. Why wouldn't the COO be there? I don't know. But anyways.
But we all did think that he was still there.
Yeah.
So, maybe they're smarter than we think. I don't think so. Personally, I enjoy what they've been doing the last, 3 to 6 months. I've actually really enjoyed the wrestling, but that part, I wish they would have give us a better answer to.
Yeah. But, I mean, it didn't ruin my night or anything. It was just kind of oh, okay.
Right.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe they're on vacation or something. I don't know. Who cares? But anyways, Kofi took on Bray Wyatt, another match that was kind of a throw-in. They had fought a couple times, but it wasn't really something that people were really looking forward to. During the beginning of the match, people were actually fandangoing, which, kind of showed you how interested the crowd was in the match. But there was one part in this where I absolutely loved it. And it was Bray Wyatt when he was leaning in the corner and he did like that scorpion walk from like The Exorcist or the crab walk or whatever. And I thought that was really creepy, and the camera work was perfect, and he must have been working on that move for a while because it looked like really, really creepy, like it freaked me out.
Yeah, to me as well, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
And for him to just be able to do that, I was really impressed with that, actually.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. I mean, I hope it's just like a one-time thing, though. I don't want him to just like do, the same thing every week. But I really enjoyed that. I thought that was really unique. You've never seen anything like that in a ring before.
Right, and Kofi sold it pretty well. He got out of the ring like, what the hell is this guy doing?
No.
This guy's crazy.
Yeah.
And then he turns around and, the two other guys are standing there, Gowan and, forget the other guy's name.
Luke?
Yeah, isn't it Luke Gowan and,
Harper.
Harper, yeah. Harper and Gowan.
And Harper.
But, I thought it looked great, with that. So, another great spot to get people talking about just him. And then Kofi does another amazing move right after that. After they all three guys are standing outside the ring, he jumps over the top of the top rope and does a flip on and hits it perfectly.
Yeah.
Hits all three of them down. So, another thing that a couple big spots in the match really can get you thinking about, that match didn't get built that well. Kind of was thrown together, looked a little rushed, but a couple good moments in it. So that makes you enjoy the match overall.
Oh, for sure. He went full Undertaker on that move. That was pretty awesome. Of course, Bray Wyatt ends up winning. He reverses into the Sister Abigail, they call it now. And that move looks a lot better when he's not trying to do it to Kane and trying to give him a kiss and stuff. He definitely works better with a guy like Kofi, a smaller guy who can really sell his moves. There was a big time collision between those two, and it looked really, really painful.
Yeah, I don't know if that was planned, but it honestly looked like if you put it in the football way, Kofi's the receiver, and Bray Wyatt's a linebacker, and he hits him square in the chest with his shoulder. It had to have. I would be really surprised if it didn't break a rib, because that's literally how hard he hit him.
Yeah,
if you would have pinned him right after that, that would have been believable.
Yeah, that was really. That was like that was like a spear from Roman Reigns. It was that violent. It looked really bad. I'm sure he didn't. I'm sure he didn't expect to hit him that hard. He's probably gonna have to pay about $10,000 to Roger Goodell for that hit.
We're lucky that the pink flag didn't get thrown
the pink flag on a defenseless wrestler.
So dumb.
That's 10-yard penalty on a defenseless wrestler hit on a defenseless wrestler.
Let me go Jimmy Bellamy on the spot for a minute on a rant that means nothing about this podcast. If you watch NFL football, the one thing that hasn't changed over the last 50 years is it's a yellow flag. And I'm all about breast cancer awareness and fighting it. That's awesome. And today they are all wearing pink, and they're probably all going to wear pink for the rest of the month, just like WWE did. But don't change the color of the flag. People have towels the same color as the flag. You can even tell sometimes when the flag's thrown. Up my Jimmy Bellamy rant.
No, I agree. I only saw that a couple times today because I was working, but every time I saw it, I thought like someone's towel had fallen off or something.
Man, I was screaming at the television, and my wife does not enjoy it when I just scream randomly at the television. So she's like, "You need to chill out." I was that mad. I was like, "I'm tweeting Roger right now. I'm sending an email."
I wonder, were the challenge flags pink as well?
You know what? If they were, that would be terrible.
That
could look like a penalty flag then.
I know. I wonder. I should look into that.
I never saw a challenge flag used today. But my assumption is, since everything else was pink, they had pink whistles.
Yeah.
So it's possible.
Maybe.
All right, let's get back. My bad.
All right, sounds good. Next up, we had one of our main events. We had CM Punk taking on. I actually wrote Brock Lesnar, but it's not Brock Lesnar. It was Ryback. Pretty slow moving match early on. I was hoping for a little better match, honestly. I thought these two had some good chemistry in their matches before. This one just felt a little off, and I don't know why, but it did.
Yeah, I agree. And it seemed like, the crowd was into it for the most part. A decent crowd overall through the night until that last match, so we'll talk about later. But, I thought it was an okay match. I didn't think it was the greatest match I've ever seen, but good storytelling. That's always good.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to this match. I thought Ryback winning would have been a lot better for his character as the bully.
The bully.
And the Paul Heyman guy and everything like that. But they went a different route. Like you stated, CM Punk hasn't won in a while, so you still need to get him a victory too, and he gets a little revenge back on Paul Heyman.
Yeah, and if we can go back to the pink shirts for a second. Like, what I didn't understand, well, I mean, I understand it, but it felt weird that a guy like Ryback would come out in a pink shirt when he's this, like, terrible dude who doesn't care about anyone. He's a bully. He does all these bad things, but he comes out in a pink shirt. I don't know. It just seemed weird to me that, someone who's supposed to be such a bad guy is out supporting, I feel like they I don't know. It just felt weird.
Yeah, I agree with you. Maybe he had something happen in his life that, he didn't want, to not wear the shirt, but, at that point, your character, Randy Orton, didn't wear a pink shirt.
Yeah.
And Randy Orton's one of the baddest, men in WWE.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be too, as the bully.
Yeah. So I didn't get it. Yeah, it was very weird. And then CM Punk had the kind of shirt that I like. Like, he had a black shirt. It said "Rise Above Cancer," and then it just had like a small pink part. It wasn't like just pure pink. And it was also ironic that the guy who wears pink every single time to the ring wasn't on the pay-per-view. He was on the pre-show. And I thought that was another kind of slap in the face to Ziggler. Like, everyone's wearing pink, but he's not on it.
Yeah, he must have done something to piss him off.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Maybe.
He just had to have done something to make them mad at him. And I think it's a completely wrong move. This guy is so talented, and he's good on the mic. He's good in the ring. I hope he gets another chance soon.
Me too. I mean, that cash-in was one of the highlights of my year, Like, that crowd was so behind Ziggler. That was one of the biggest send-offs you could ever have for a cash-in. And they blew it. Like, they really blew his whole push, and now he's back to jobbing, and I hate it. He's so much better than that.
Do you think the concussion had something to do with it?
You think what?
Do you think the concussion that he had happen to him really prevented him on what he was doing?
Of course, I mean, yeah, but I mean, they wrote that into the storyline. They had Del Rio just kick the crap out of his face for a while during that when he lost the title. But I thought that was going to give him an obstacle to overcome that he would eventually, overcome and win back the title. But then he got stuck taking on Big E Langston all the time, and he never really got back to that World Heavyweight Championship. I don't even know if he got his rematch for that after he lost to Del Rio. So, I just think they really missed an opportunity, because even after the injury, he still could have come back and been like, "Listen, if I didn't get injured, that would have been my title still. I want it back." They just missed the boat.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks. That all that was left was our main event, and they were running a video package of it, and all of a sudden.
Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the ending real quick.
Of
the
CM Punk match. Yeah, we went off the scales.
Tangent.
Yeah, Paul Heyman goes to hit CM Punk with a kendo stick, but the ref sees it, breaks it up, and while the ref was looking at Paul Heyman, CM Punk kicks Ryback in his manhood area, in his husband's bulge, and he gets a win. CM Punk gets a win after that move.
Yeah, super weak is all I said right after it. I was obviously mad because I wanted Ryback to win. I'm wearing this shirt still right now. But for that match to end like that, and the interesting thing is, do you remember that this is the second time that Ryback has lost to CM Punk on a pay-per-view with a low blow ending?
Yeah. That was
they
what?
didn't change anything
Hell in
from
a
a year
Cell?
ago.
That was Hell in a Cell last year, right?
Yep, I believe so. I can't remember if it's Hell in a Cell or the one before it, but
It was Brad Maddox, wasn't it?
might have been, yeah.
Yeah, when Brad Maddox hit him in the groinal region, and then they rolled him up, and that was it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I'm okay with CM Punk winning. Low blow him like he did. Ref doesn't see it, and then pick him up and give him to go to sleep.
Yeah.
And then I'm perfectly fine with the ending. But for him to pin, him with the low blow, I just thought that was extremely weak to do to one of the best performers you have in your ring, and that's CM Punk, the best in the world. At least let him hit his finisher, let him hit something, just to make it more believable.
Yeah. It did feel a little like when The Rock hit CM Punk with the People's Elbow at the Royal Rumble, and it was over, and you're like, wow, I didn't expect CM Punk's reign to end on an elbow to the heart,
That he's done to 100 people before that have all ticked out.
Well, not really. If you go back and watch, the Rock really used the People's Elbow to great efficiency back in the day.
Did he really win a lot of matches with the People's Elbow?
Yeah.
I thought the People's Elbow then would get up if he would rock bottom, just like the five knuckle shuffle. I kind of see the five knuckle shuffle and the People's Elbow as really being the same thing.
Well, yeah, now it is, but the People's Elbow was a finisher. He would put away a lot of guys with it.
Okay.
Yeah, big time.
All right.
But yeah, so
nowadays I don't think it's just.
I agree, and I was really upset with that Royal Rumble finish, but we're getting off track again.
Right.
Just like the pay-per-view did when it cut out and we lost the signal for 5 minutes. We didn't know if we were getting it back, and we were checking Twitter. We were going crazy. We were even talking that maybe it was a work, maybe Triple H had planned this or something. But alas, it was just a power outage. It looked like, but
yeah, it was scary, to be honest. We're sitting there, and it's got that beep all the way across the screen, and we're like, oh no,
yeah,
we just lost pay-per-view. We all go on Twitter, Halloween Havoc, repeat again. We have no idea if we're going to get it back. People tweeting inside the building, saying they lost power. So we knew eventually we were hoping that we would get it back, but it was definitely interesting. If it was a work, they handled it really well because I bet it blew up Twitter.
Oh yeah.
I bet that was the number one topic.
Yeah.
And luckily we got it back, and they fixed their problems, and we had no more problems throughout the whole night.
Yeah, thank goodness. Because if that had happened during the match, I would have been really upset. But it happened right before the match. Everything went off without a hitch after they came back on, so I was all good. So we get to the match. We have Daniel Bryan taking on Randy Orton. The crowd was pretty dead after that power outage, but they got back into it as the match got better. There was a really awesome moment where Daniel Bryan went from the top rope, and Orton caught him and power bombed him, and then he put him into the walls of Jericho, basically.
Yeah, well, what a great transition. What a good spot for Daniel Bryan to have and Randy Orton to deliver. Just two great moves.
Yeah, for sure. And after that, Daniel Bryan gains back the momentum, locks in the yes lock, and just when you think Orton's going to tap, whose music hits? But, well, it's the big show. Oh, yeah. And we're like, oh, boy, here comes Triple H's lackey. He knocks out the ref. He knocks out Daniel Bryan. Here comes Brad Maddox and Scott Armstrong. Armstrong goes in as Orton goes for the pin. Armstrong rolls in. And then Armstrong gets knocked out by the Big Show. The crowd erupts into yes chants. Big Show enters the ring. They're jawing at each other, Orton and Big Show knocks out Randy Orton. As the pay-per-view goes off the air, we still have no new WWE champion.
Yeah, it was really pulling off really great, really well, I should say. It was awesome. A great ending. Leaves a lot of question marks, which is, obviously the key to every pay-per-view is if you're like, what the world just happened? Brad Maddox is at the top of the ramp, so basically looking like, oh crap, I am done for.
Mm-hmm.
Triple H is gonna just kick my butt, and Big Show is reigning over everyone. Standing up in the corner, going, not anymore. Triple H, you're not gonna boss me around anymore. He finally came to his senses, and turned good guy, I guess. Interesting way to really end the pay-per-view. Second pay-per-view in a row. It's been ended, with the title not being decided.
Well,
or should say it was decided in the last pay-per-view, but stripped the next night. So really leaves a lot of question marks for tomorrow night, which will get a lot of people to watch.
Oh, absolutely. And it is the third pay-per-view in a row without a clean finish. We had SummerSlam, Daniel Bryan beating John Cena and then being turned on by Triple H and Randy Orton. And then last month we had the fast count, and then tonight we got the double knockout. I don't mind these kind of things because I really like the storylines and stuff. But at some point you got to have just a clean win by somebody, but for that payoff. But I think they're doing the right thing here. I didn't think either of these guys would walk out with the belt. I thought it would more likely that Triple H would, and I kept saying that all night. But I really felt it. I knew that Orton or Daniel Bryan weren't going to be champion after tonight. I just didn't know if anyone would, or I didn't know what was going to happen. I just knew that neither of those two would have it.
Yeah, and they did it pretty well. For that to have be the plan, executed great. The match was awesome, actually. The crowd was, like you said, dead after that outage, but for the last about 10 minutes of that match, the crowd got fired up for it. There was a couple big spots off the top rope by Daniel Bryan onto Orton from the outside, and a lot of good moves, good match overall. I was waiting for Brie Bella to come out so she could get RKO'd by Randy Orton, but never happened. Yeah,
it didn't happen. But yeah, it does leave a lot of questions, like what the hell was Big Show doing? Why would he knock out Daniel Bryan if he was just going to knock out Orton? Is he going to be a third man in this? Like, are they going to have a triple threat match at Hell in a Cell? Is Triple H going to get involved? What are the repercussions for the Big Show? Is he going to get fired by Triple H, or was he under the discretion of Triple H? Is Triple H the Big Show the face of the WWE that Triple H wants? There's so many questions that we just don't know right now. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens.
How great would it be if Big Show finally was the face of the WWE as that bad guy, going off, knocking everyone out again? He's had that role before, but this time with the WWE Championship, with the support of the corporation. I don't know what Randy Orton would do at that point, though. It would bury him for quite a while, I would assume. But I there's a lot of question marks, a lot of options for them, and pretty happy with the result.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it will be really exciting to see what happens tomorrow night, and I hope you guys tune in. We're gonna have our Raw recap on Wednesday for you, so be looking out for that. We want to thank you for listening tonight. I want to thank Andy McKinnon for calling in and being my guest on the show tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me again, Matt. It was a lot of fun. I'm back on the road, heading down to the cities, but I'm glad I could join.
Yeah. And thank you for the spread tonight. We had some sloppy joes. Delicious, as always.
We made them extra sloppy for you.
Extra sloppy for you. I know how you like them sloppy. You want to plug your Twitter, Andy?
Yeah, it's at Mazzilla51, and that's MACKZILLA 51. You follow me and talk a lot about sports and wrestling.
Yep, he's a good guy to follow. He's good stuff. Be sure to follow us on Twitter as well, at Immortals PCast, at 97Bush for myself, at Jimmy Bellamy for the absent Jimmy Bellamy. We love you, Jimmy. We miss you. We wish you could have been here tonight. It doesn't feel right, I feel a little weird.
It feels weird, but he'll be back soon. That's the thing.
Yeah, he'll be back for our show on Wednesday, so be looking out for that. We want to thank Wrestle News. Be sure to follow them on Twitter as well, at Wrestle News with a Z. They got all your great, best, up-to-date news forecast or previews and reviews and everything. They also have awesome photos of Brie Bella, so you can check those out too. All right, guys, thanks for listening. We'll see you next week. Thanks again, Andy. All right, peace.